Hi everyone, I'm Missy from Ramblin' Rose Farmhouse, and I'm glad you're here today. Today I have some bone broth that needs to be canned, so I thought that I would show you how I do that. So I have all of my canning stuff back here, and I'm going to tell you it's not organized the way it would normally be, but I tried to figure out a way that I could show you all the different steps. So it's kind of awkward. If I seem a little mixed up, it's because it's not the way it normally would be when I do it, but it'll be okay. So my bone broth has been I made it and I put it in the refrigerator overnight so that it would be cool. And one reason is because the fat comes to the top and then I can get the fat off of it. I don't want the fat to be on my broth when I can it because the fat can keep your lid from sealing. And so I definitely want my lids to seal, and I'm going to try to get as much of the broth off of it as I can. I'm not throwing this away because I have another purpose for it. If you haven't made bone broth before, I have a video showing you how I make this bone broth in the Instant Pot. And so I will leave it in a card for you if you want to go and watch that video first and then come back to this one. Okay, so I've got my broth warming up right here, and that's because it was, really cold out of the refrigerator, and you don't want to put the cold broth into the warm jars into the warm water that's in the canner. So it all has to be warm. So my jars are sitting in a pot of warm water over here, and I'm fixing to move them over here so that I can put the warm broth into them. Okay, so I went ahead and put some more jars in the water because I don't know how many quarts of broth I have, but I just want to get my jars ready. I'm using my All-American canner today, and this one will can 14 quarts at a time. So that is really nice. It makes it so much easier. I used to only be able to can 7 quarts at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and ladle this hot broth into my jars to get ready to can it. Ideally, I would have a larger pot so that I could have all my broth warming up at the same time, but I don't have one, so I just have to do it in batches. So it's not the perfect situation, but it works okay. I'm going to turn that broth off because it's hot enough. Alright, so I don't have enough for this jar. I'm going to go ahead and fill my pot up with more broth from over here. And so while this is heating, I'm going to go ahead and get the lids for these 6 jars heating up. So they're going to go in this pot back here. You're leaving a 1-inch headspace at the top, and then we need to take a damp rag or paper towel and wipe all of these rims to make sure that it's perfectly clean. Always make sure you don't have any chips or anything in the rims of your jars. And as soon as the lids get heated up, we'll put those on here. I already have 3 inches of water in my canner, and my rack is down there in the bottom. So like I said, I can put 7 quarts on the bottom, and then I have another rack and I can stack more quarts on the top. So that's what I'll do, because we're gonna have more than 7 here. Okay, these are warmed up plenty enough to put on these jars. I'm going to screw my rings on here tight, but not, you know, overly tight. I'm going to place them into the water that's in my canner. I'm going to go ahead and throw a few more lids into my hot water back here, because I know I'm going to need some more of them. Don't know how many for sure. Okay, so this is just about ready. I'm going to go ahead and move some more warm jars over here. Okay, and I am using the directions today that came with my All American canner in the little canning recipe book that goes with it. So I'm doing it the way it tells you to do it. So I need one more jar to get this bottom layer filled up in the canner. All right, this broth is heated up, so I am going to go ahead and fill these jars. And then I still have a little bit more that I'm going to have to put in my pot and heat again. So we're definitely going to have to invest in a larger pot. Okay, I've got everything sealed up really good tight now, and so I have my heat on high, and I am going to wait for the steam to start escaping right here, and then I will start timing. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but the steam is coming out pretty good now, and so I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for 10 minutes. I'm gonna let the steam escape like this for 10 minutes, and then I'll put the weight on and we will start the canning process. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. My timer went off, so I am fixing to put my little weight on. Now I use the 10 because that's how much pressure I use, but if you live where there's a higher altitude, you probably need to use the 15. So you need to check on that and make sure that you use the right amount of pressure. But I'm going to slip this on here really quick, and then we will see the pressure start to build on the little gauge here. Okay, we are up to pressure now, and I had set my timer so it took 19 minutes for it to get up to pressure. Now that might not be the same for you. It probably has to do with how hot, you know, your stove gets as to how long it's going to take. But I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for 25 minutes because I'm going to can this at 25 minutes. And the reason, you know, it's showing me 10 pounds of pressure here, and then also I have the jiggle going on there, and that lets me know that it is where it needs to be. So I'm setting it for 25 minutes. And we are now in the pressure canning process. Okay, the timer went off, so it's been 25 minutes. So I've turned off the heat under the pot now, and I'm gonna let the pressure go back down naturally. It'll take a little while, and then we will remove the weight and be pretty close to being able to open the canner. Okay, the pressure is all the way back down to 0, so we can take the weight off now. So I am going to do that. And then we'll let that steam escape for a little while before we take the lid off. Okay, I'm going to try to go ahead and get this loosened up and take the lid off. I'm going to go ahead and take out the broth so that it can start getting cooled off. Okay, be sure that you take all of the rings off of your jars before you store them. That is something that you're supposed to do. And also make sure that you check all of your lids to see if they are sealed. And you do that just by pushing down on the top of your lids. If they don't move, they're sealed. If when you push them you hear like a little click, then they are not sealed down. And so those you would need to go ahead and put in the refrigerator and use them pretty soon. These that are sealed up, you can store on the shelf for a long term. And it's a good idea to go ahead and write the date on your jars too, so that you can remember when these were processed and put into storage. Okay, so that's it. We are done canning the broth now. And I hope that you can see that it's not really any harder to can broth than it is to can vegetables or anything else. And so I just want to thank you for being here today and watching my video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. And be sure and come back next week because I post a new video every week. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week.